Woo, let me tell you about Southern Holler. Deep-rooted conversation on civics and business. It offers an insightful exploration of local politics, community dynamics, and business partnerships. Each episode unravels a complex interplay between civic affairs and business ventures. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. Power Evans.
New Year, Jeremiah Outwater.
How's it going, man?
It's good. How you, man?
I made it through the holidays.
I hear you on that.
Like everybody else, I think.
Absolutely.
I would have loved a little bit more snow.
Same here. It would have been nice, but I think we're going to get some more snow here soon. Hopefully it'll be more snow and less ice. But I tell you what, Jeremiah, it's good to be back in the studio. We want to thank Deb Donaldson for being a sponsor of the show and keeping this running. So thank you very much. How's the new year going for you?
Well, so far, so good. We'll kind of get into it in a second, but you actually, so Power Evans really likes to flex and do important things. What did you do recently?
I don't like to flex.
That was historical.
I had the flu. No, I'm just kidding. I did have the flu, but as anybody would know, the state of Georgia as a whole has ever had one president from the state, and that was Jimmy Carter. He was a member of the Sumter County Board of Education, a state senator, governor of Georgia, and then, of course, president of the United States from 1977 to 1981. He had beat Gerald Ford in 1976 and then was defeated by Ronald Reagan in 1980. For those in Georgia, I tell people all the time, I was a history major in college before I was a political science major. I wanted to be a history teacher because of my grandmother. She really inspired me to be a history teacher. And one of the things that I loved about history, my favorite part of history, because I am a lover of my state, I love Georgia history. Georgia history has been very impactful to me. And so as everyone knows, Jimmy Carter passed away at 100 years old back before the end of the year, or at the end of the year, at the end of 2024. Part of that is having your state funeral. So a couple of us, we went to the Carter Center when he was up at the Carter Center lying in state. And then, of course, Thursday, June 9th, right before Snowpocalypse 2025 happened, they, of course, had his state funeral in Washington and then flew him back to Fort Benning, now Fort Moore, in Columbus, and then drove him back to Plains. So me and my buddy Hunter, our friend Troy, we went down to Plains and we stayed there and watched them bring him through and then watched them take him back home. And it was quite a very, very impactful experience. But, standing there in Plains, you're in this small little town of 600 in a small populous county in a small populous area, southwest Georgia. It was cool being a part of history. That was something that I will be able to tell my kids that, hey, I got to stand in this little town of 600 people and watch their neighbor come back through town. Because that's what it is to them. Every person that you heard from down there, they said, yeah, we've known Mr. Jimmy a long time. Cool.
One of the things I regret, so Bella and I, we enjoy Georgia history too. We had said multiple times that we always wanted to hear the president and his wife teach Sunday school. We never got to do it, but they were always welcoming to do that. They had taught Sunday school all the way up until
he really got sick.
Got sick?
Which is about 2019, 2020. Yeah, really couldn't do it in 2020 because of the pandemic.
Right. And then even after former First Lady Mrs. Carter passed, he still taught time to time, I thought.
I don't think it was. He didn't, because at that point he was on hospice at that point still.
Okay.
Nonetheless, you think about all those years, and even it's like, I think in this case it's for Georgians, especially for kids.
Right.
This is a teachable moment because no matter no matter your politics. You look at all the presidents through history. You look at somebody that came from Southwest Georgia again. Humble roots. I
think you're trying to say humble.
Humble roots. It's very much a teachable moment for kids when they go look. They still need to go to Plains. They need to go through the house. A house that you can look it up on Zillow. It's worth an estimated $250,000. That is the estimate of the house. The property assessor.
Wait a minute. You're looking to buy.
No, it belongs to so it belongs to the Department of Interior now. So it is not on the market. It's very impactful to see that, no matter where you come from, truly that is the epitome. It does not matter if you come from rural Southwest Georgia, urban area of Athens, Winder, Georgia, or the big city Atlanta. You can be president of the United States.
Well, again, thank you, Mr. Carter, for your impact to your life and things like that.
Absolutely.
Speaking of impact, 2025 is having an impact on me already.
Absolutely. Let's talk. That's what kind of the goal is today. We're, usually me and Jeremiah, we love interviewing people coming on this show. And today, I get to interview you, Jeremiah, about a great update.
2024 finished strong. Enjoyed the holidays like everybody else. We had a kiddo in the house with Christmas with us and starting the new year. And then during that time, I accepted a new job for a nonprofit. It's called Little Red Acorn. Again, it's called Little Red Acorn. The best way I say it now is I am promoting secondary education or continuing education for the trades. So whether that be middle school, schoolers, high schoolers, young adults, or any adult that wants a career change, all the way up to the military vets and first responders. If you need a job, and it's some of the highest entry level of jobs for pay scale, 4 hours per dollar per hour right now, one of the highest paying fields is actually plumbers. Master level plumber age is about 54, 55, 56. They need to replace a whole generation of plumbers behind them.
And I take it that's very important.
Yeah, that's very important. So if you're in construction and you're between 50, 55, headed up to 60, I mean, the body's worn down.
Yeah.
You're talking about retirement at some point on the horizon. But when there's a lack of men and women behind them for the new age of plumbers, that it's a problem.
Absolutely.
And it's never a problem until it's a problem. We live in an area that when it snows, like a quarter of an inch, and then freezes for 12 hours a day.
Paralyzes everybody, absolutely.
Paralyzes everybody.
Absolutely.
Between the HVAC units and then everything that is on sewer.
Oh, yeah.
And then
even when I had to be on the road during that snowstorm, and I tell you a lot. You know what a lot I saw? Heating and air folks out on the road,
heating and air folks
all day long.
Yeah,
all day long.
So it's connecting those kind of points. The last 23, 24 years, I've spent in the trades. So I worked with signs and graphics and things like that. I really enjoyed that time. It's given me a lot of opportunity to do things that I grew into. And met some amazing people, and I got to work on things that most people will never see. That was a wonderful experience. And then moving over to something to advocate for more people to do, I want to develop more relationships with people that are looking for people. So almost like we're looking as a recruiter. We get people into schools, go work on a certification process, doing some onboarding. Well, where can I take this new information and new education? Where can I go work with it? Well, I want to help you go on that next path is in the recruiting area. I don't know. What do you like to do? What do you want to do? Is there something that interests you? And then just having good people around me that are business owners, been doing this a long time, have a lot to pass on to the next generation of tradespeople. And then lastly, again, it's at the end of the day, it's still helping community. I think that's probably still my major theme in life is helping the community as much as I can. So anything that does happen, catastrophic to weather to things you can't control, is having people on standby that can help other people. I think that's one of the best blessings I get from this. So my main job now is this, actually, talking and sharing big ideas and trying to get everybody going in the same direction, and then connecting as many people as I can. The other way I can do this is by raising a network or building a network of businesses that can buy from each other, learn from each other, and invest in with each other. I have a lot of business partners that I'm working with in the area that we're trying to do some things together with to help raise awareness for their company and also with what I'm doing as well. Both in the nonprofit side and the business side. So it's that. And then, of course, I'm sitting across from a government guy who works for the state. At some point, I'll have to buy him lunch. And
still waiting on that lunch. Been at work a week now.
I will turn.
Just kidding.
I'll turn in a packet with them, with the state, and just have a conversation with them. And Department of Labor. I have a working relationship. That's somebody local. I had a conversation with somebody that represents a little higher office in the state the other day. Just starting those conversations, finishing those conversations, connect as many people as I can.
That's wonderful.
Again, I just have a good group of guys. We definitely do like to laugh and give each other a hard time. That's important, and the guys around me are important. I told a group of guys last night, I said, the older you get, the more career changes that you make, it gets harder. It feels like it's a little bit at a higher level. I'm just thankful that I have guys that I can depend on. Sometimes power. I'm kidding. A lot of times power.
Well, thank you. Sometimes I try to come in every once in a while, and be impactful where I can.
Yeah. No, you're definitely impactful.
We try to, touch each other's lives, and we have. It's very beneficial to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You think back to when you started 2024, and I think back to it as well.
Yeah.
When you started 2024, and when you started 2025, and I think 2025 looks a whole lot better than 2024 did when you started.
Yeah, well, so much we don't know how the story ends.
You're not supposed to know how the story ends.
Yeah, I think starting out every year with the same kind of mindset, growth, and a lot of hard work and doing the right things. So let's just talk about 2025. So we start looking at the priorities and the things that you want to do. So mine, obviously, again, with Little Red Acorn, nonprofit, making donations, connections,
correct,
development, impacting people's lives. What are some of the other things you want to do, Power? So this was a lot about me. What do you want to do in 2025?
Well, I want to be able to do more when it comes to both my job, as a whole. I want to do a lot better in my job because I'm new to the field of economic development. Even though I've been in the job now, I think 7 months, I'm still new to the world. I'm still new to economic development. Folks that are in this job now have been doing economic development just in different positions. And so I want to do better at that. I want to continue to try and do better at my job, or would not try, do better at my job and make sure I'm doing as good a job as I can. But at the same time, I'm working on different projects on the elected official side. This year so when I ran back in 2023, I ran for a uncompleted term, which had 2 years left on it. So this year I have to make the decision whether or not I'll run for re-election for my seat on the city council. And so, by considering running for election, and if the people see fit to reelect me, I've got a lot of projects that I'm working on this year that are going to take me longer, as far as some infrastructure projects that we've got. I've got several neighborhoods, of course, in my ward, and each one of them is important. But I got to think about, we've got to start somewhere, and so I've got a neighborhood that I'm starting at now that we've got to do some infrastructure repairs on, and so working with the city administrator and city staff to start that project there, but also some smaller quick fixes around my ward that we need done. That's on my radar. I spent the last year kind of getting acclimated to the seat. I really want to push more now to get those projects done and completed, and so that's kind of my goal, is to, if not get those completed this year, get a good start, so that no matter what happens in this year, no matter if I run for election and win, we'll have that ready to go in 2026. Or if I don't run for election, whoever takes my spot, they can have that ready to pick up in 2026. Or if I run for election and the folks that I represent don't feel as though they'd like me to continue, then we'll have whoever takes my spot, they will have that project to pick up, and that's what's important. And so I want to make sure that is there in 2026, no matter what. So that's going to be a lot of work this year to do. Okay.
Well, for the podcast, Southern Holler, we still want to do a good year.
Absolutely.
We had some spotty time this in 2024.
Yep.
We try to get as many out as we can, but sometimes life happens and health problems and all the other things that we couldn't control. So we tried to do a few more episodes this year, and then grow with our associate sponsors and series sponsors and things like that we definitely want to talk to a lot more people about.
And I think we've got some cool little things that we want to do throughout the year. We had talked about them last year, but being new to the podcast world, you're still kind of going through the hurdles of it. But I think this year we got a couple things coming down the pipe that I think we'll give
that we're going to actually do.
Yeah, that we're going to do that I think people will enjoy. And so.
Well, we didn't get to the possum drop. And
we didn't get to the possum.
So
No.
that is literally going to go on the calendar.
Absolutely.
I still want to take you to Rattlesnake Roundup because
Yes,
you've got boots. I have boots now, cowboy boots.
Yes,
now.
you do. Absolutely.
So we got to go down
boots
there.
Are made for walking.
Yeah,
that's what they'll do.
Stepping boots on.
Correct.
But yeah, there's some other stuff that we want to do around the community that we'll bring back here. And then the show is still about people.
Yes.
We have several guests coming up here really soon. We'd love to repeat of the judge.
Yes.
Pending her time and schedule. That hopefully the next one or two she'll be in, and then we have some other dynamic guests that we're friends with that do amazing things. We just want to give them a voice in our community. We're also still looking for. We still want to talk to some business people that do dynamic things, that work with nonprofits and development and give their time to a lot of different spaces. So I think on 2025, we have a lot to do. I can't believe January is about halfway gone. Let's go. We got a lot to do.
We do. We'll have a good year to look forward to, and excited that we get to be partners in this adventure. So looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a good year. Going to be a real good year.
Yes, sir. Well, there's our music. Thank you for listening to Southern Holler with Power Evans and Jeremiah Outwater. Thank you for Mr. Tom over here with Northeast Georgia Business RadioX, a podcast studio. You can always follow us on your favorite podcasts, Apple, Spotify, all of that. Again, thank you, Mr. Tom Sheldon, for being an awesome producer.
Thanks so much.